The Russia-Ukraine war enters its fourth year on the 20th of February. The biggest lesson from this war? Drones rule the modern battlefield. On the ground, in the air, and even on the surface of the sea. The drones have been used by both Russia and Ukraine in tens of thousands. Just last September, President Putin said he was increasing drone production 10 times in the Russian Federation to 1.4 million drones this year. Now, India has been catching up in this drone race thanks to its dronacharyas. Private sector startups were thinking out of the box. These dronacharyas are being supported by the armed forces like the Indian Navy, Air Force, and Army, and of course by the Defence Ministry. I met with 3 dronacharyas at Aero India. They're building a full spectrum of drones, from long-range jet-powered drones to high-altitude spy drones to even pocket-sized drones which can help commandos operate in confined spaces. Let's take a look. I'm speaking into a camera, but a very different kind of camera, and I'll show you why. This is a drone. This is a micro drone that can be used by India's special forces. In fact, orders have already been placed for this. It could happen in a couple of months from now that India's special forces are going to be using this. But let me tell you how small this drone is. This is not a tumbler. This small little 6-inch cylinder in my hand opens up into this little nifty device. And I'm going to introduce you to the person who developed this little micro drone that our special forces are going to carry.
So this is our sub 250 gram drone. This is built for very low acoustic signature and a range of 2 kilometers. It can fly for 30 minutes and it comes in 3 pieces. Comes out of the box. You can put it like so. That is your battery and this is your payload. And now it is ready to fly.
And what is the range of this micro drone?
So this system can go out to 4 kilometers. We have tested this in urban environments for ranges up to 2 kilometers.
Is it indigenous?
Yeah, everything is built and designed by our team at IIT Delhi.
Everything, the flight controller?
Flight controllers, motor controllers, GPS, camera modules, everything is built out.
100% made in India micro drone?
Yeah.
Is this the first of its kind?
I believe it is.
And what are the potential users for this?
So this is specially built for special forces. It has very low acoustic signature, and if needed it can also go RF silent, which means it will not emit anything. So it can go into the area, evade any kind of detection, gather information and come back.
Is this a surveillance?
Yeah, this is primarily a surveillance drone. It has day and night payload that you can swap. The one that I have on here, this is the day payload. You can just as easily put the night payload. So you can configure it for whatever mission that you have at your hand.
Can it also carry a weapon?
It can. The next version for this system is meant to be launched out of a UBGL. So this is 42 millimeters as of now. We are shrinking it down to 40 millimeters so it can come out of a UBGL. So any standard UBGL which can take 40 mil grenades will be able to launch this thing.
And what would the payload be, the explosive payload?
Standard 40 mil grenades.
I'm at the IdeaForge pavilion. Now, IdeaForge, as you know, is one of India's oldest drone making companies. It was started by a group of IITians from the IIT Bombay. And I have with me here today Ankit Mehta, CEO of IdeaForge. Ankit, welcome to News9. Tell us what's under this cover here. Let's in fact see it first. I can't. Let's unveil it. Oh, wow. Look at that.
So, Sandeep, this is our latest flagship product that we are launching at the Aero Show this year. We've built one of the most versatile, flexible, and uncompromised platforms that you will find in the drone industry anywhere in the world. It's a platform that can go from an unfolded condition to flying condition from the bag in around 2 to 3 minutes, and can be deployed to do a mission of more than 75 minutes of uncompromised flight time with a dual EOIR payload with an all-up weight of around 6 kgs only. And you can additionally carry 2 kgs of more payload on the platform that you could drop in a precision payload delivery fashion over any target, over any scenario. And this platform comes with the uncompromised capability of being operated in any environment even if there is a lot of heavy electronic warfare activity happening.
Dense ECM environment.
So it has a lot of, yes, so it has the ability to do GNSS denied navigation. It has the ability to, a very unique capability in fact, where you can do one-way communication from the platform, which means that even if you have launched a drone along a border, it can continue to scan the border and will continue to deliver the feed to the controller on the ground despite heavy ECM activity on the other side. So essentially, it's a drone that we believe when soldiers carry it with them will make them feel uninhibited. They can operate anywhere, they can be safe, as well as they will be able to conveniently operate it with all the autonomy features that we are embedded in the system. There is operational autonomy that we have in the navigation, the way we navigate and the way we operate the system. It's got obstacle sensing and many such capabilities. But there is also the future-proof part of what we've embedded in this. Apart from a flexible payload bay, we have also got an onboard compute, and that onboard compute can host many AI algorithms that you can swap out based on the need of that particular operation.
Right.
And those kind of capabilities come with the flexibility of mounting different payloads. For example, over here, you have the SAR payload that we are building for fog penetration. So this payload will allow the user to operate this in dense, heavy fog environment as well, still being able to understand what's happening on the border and what things are.
So Ankit, I have to ask you this because this is in the news of late. Are all the components in this drone indigenous?
So what is very important in the drone technology is to, like I mentioned in one of the previous conversations, is that you have 3 levels of subsystem requirement. Within the 3 levels, the critical subsystems which are prone to perhaps potential malware or potential sabotage, those we definitely don't want from any geography of concern. And that has been ensured on this platform and any of our previous platforms as well for many years now. We have always been doing that because we were very clear that the borders on which we need to deploy the technology cannot have technology that is of that nature coming from those borders, from across the border. So
And
that
this
we
is
were very clear about.
Fully indigenously developed, designed
This
and manufactured.
entire technology has been fully indigenously designed, developed. The autopilot is our own technology. The communication system is our technology. The payload is our design, our technology. The battery pack, the airframe, the entire concept, it's been done by us. So we have the highest vertical integration capability in this domain, at least in our country. And we've had this from a very long while. In fact, when open source autopilots were not available, is when we had actually built our first autopilot. So that way we've ensured that it's very safe and secure. And for example, there was an incident where there was jamming that had happened on the border. Now jamming is a technology that you can't do much unless you have a way to survive the jamming environment, which was not the demand earlier. But now with the increasing ECM measures across the world and the reality of jamming, we are also now, what we are doing is we are also now building these capabilities of GNSS denial into our platforms to make sure that we are future-proofing the system for the forces. So that at least that is one headache they won't have to worry about going forward in any of the products that they get from us. So I think that's the way we think about this whole piece, that how do we build technology that makes the soldier feel that I can use the technology and it's my friend and will not turn into a foe in any scenario.
So how many drones do you expect orders? What are the potential?
So what we are doing at the Aero Show presently is that we have come up with the approach where we are giving early access to this technology to some select users so that we can learn more about the platform as well as make sure that it is perfect for a few users. Once we have the early adopter or the early access program enabled, we will have the ability to market it more aggressively and make sure that this technology is then serving a much wider range of customer base that we have. So we are working in that direction and we've seen a lot of interest in that access as well.
And numbers, can you give an idea of the users and the numbers for this platform?
See, all of the defense forces, anyone who is remotely close to a conflict on their borders or looking at an active scenario, they are very, very important potential users for the technology. Also very important is make sure that people who have requirements for high altitude operations, because this technology is capable of operating under minus 30 degrees centigrade and at a takeoff altitude of 5,500 meters with the ability to climb about 1,000 meters from there as well. So it's a high altitude drone with the ability to carry additional payload, with the ability to have a very high quality EOIR camera. So I would say that anybody who has in the need for a high performance platform and they want to feel uninhibited, this is the platform to go to in the world at this point.
I'm joined now by Dipesh Gupta and Shagun Gupta. They're the co-owners of Veda Aeronautics. They're one of the fastest growing companies in the private sector defense aerospace business. They've just signed an agreement with IdeaForge at Aero India. I'm going to ask them more about their plans for the future.
So Veda Aeronautics won India's largest swarm drone combat UAV contract. The entire system was based on 200 UAVs, and the whole operational requirements of the Air Force, including trucks and the whole system which would be used by the Air Force in actual deployment. It was the largest contract given to an Indian startup under the concept of Meher Baba, and it was a flagship project started by the Indian Air Force to enhance and support the Indian startup ecosystem, specifically in the drone area of interest. So Veda Aeronautics in 2023, under the flagship project of the Indian Air Force called the Meher Baba, we won the largest contract given to an Indian startup, which was almost 300 crores. It was to deliver combat swarm drones to the Indian Air Force. Along with the drones, it included the package which would help operationalize the whole system for the Air Force, which included the truck system, the ground control station, the catapult to launch it.
Yeah, so the vehicle that you see behind you, that's a truck, which is actually a foldable and expandable crew room. Now it's got various facilities in it for the crew, the 4 main crew of the GCS operational personnel, to have a comfortable habitation inside with a kitchen, a fully functional kitchen, and a washroom and sleeping foldable beds. So we have gone way and beyond just the normal definition of a truck to transport just the drones or the GCS, but we've taken care of also the people who would be operating the systems.
So the agreement that we signed, the collaborative agreement that we signed with IdeaForge, is instrumental in a larger sense, not only for the two companies, but for the whole ecosystem of the drones in India. Because what we are doing together is to enhance the capability of small jet engines for the UAV. The agreement would help us enhance the performance of our drones in terms of environment at which it can perform. And this collaboration will help us enhance not only the drone in itself, but also the technology to make better engines. For example, Veda Aeronautics is expanding its portfolio of the drones that we want to develop, the longer range, the longer ceiling. And this collaboration will help us because IdeaForge is extremely committed in making the portfolio of these jet engines. And this collaboration will have a growth philosophy for both the companies. And for a startup, it is essential to have someone like IdeaForge jumping in to this space, because certain capability, technology, and enhancement can be done by companies like IdeaForge, who can create a certain niche within their organization and help companies like Veda Aeronautics. So what has changed in India over the last few years is companies like Veda Aeronautics, startups have got a lot of encouragement from the government. There were certain capabilities of contracts or areas where initially the earmarked area, organization to go to by the government were public sector undertakings or giant companies. But today, we are proud to say that as a small startup, we can participate in complicated requirements. For example, the high altitude pseudo satellite is one of them. The combat swarm drone is another project wherein companies like Veda Aeronautics have been included by the government. In our contract, what is also very essential is we got a lot of inclusive support by the Indian Air Force to constantly support us in ensuring that we are able to enhance our product and give the best technology and solution to the Indian military. What next for Veda Aeronautics? So we want to be the champions in the aerospace and combat system in India. we are focusing on certain capabilities, like I mentioned about the high altitude pseudo satellite, wherein we are very much involved in the whole business. In terms of the drones that we're manufacturing, because of the team, because of the capability that we have developed and the collaboration that we signed yesterday with IdeaForge, there are certain envelopes, there's certain capabilities of air launch system, ability to launch it from aircraft, from fighter jet, from even the transportation aircraft. All these capabilities is where Veda Aeronautics is actively working on. And again, this collaboration that we signed with IdeaForge will help us enhance the capability, and the support that we get from the government is very encouraging.